we're going to see more of. Yesterday, the 50th Student Academy Awards was presented on Zoom on YouTube. So the official channel for the Oscars did a presentation where you could watch the 50th Student Academy Awards, and I think this is a great thing. I like that young and up-and-coming filmmakers are being supported, and you can watch the entire thing, and we'll put a link in the description of this. You can watch the entire 90-minute event, which was mainly done over Zoom, on the official Oscars channel. It was yesterday. Everybody's talking about it. When I say everybody,
watch it,
you can watch the whole thing.
No, did you watch it?
I didn't watch the whole thing.
If I'm not mistaken, the winner of the Student Academy Award is an automatic nominee for Best Short
Correct.
film?
I believe so. But let's do this. We're going to go directly to, we're just going to watch the very beginning of the show for a reason.
Yes.
And that reason is land acknowledgments. This is a trend. We've seen it at film festivals. I think it is interesting. I don't know how you do it over a Zoom call. I mean, where are the servers housed where the Zoom call is taking place? But I'm just going to show you the first, it's probably just going to be 20 seconds of this video. I want you to see this because I think you're going to see this happening more and more. This is you can watch the entire thing. It aired yesterday. The Oscars channel has 2.63 million subscribers. This video was streamed 14 hours ago and currently stands at 5,300 views. That's 5,300 views on a YouTube channel that has 2.6 million subscribers. I'm just going to play the beginning of this, and then you and I are going to discuss it, Alan. Literally the first 20 seconds here. Here we go. Today we gather to celebrate on the ancestral lands of the Tongva people, the original caretakers of this water and land. We honor and pay our respects to the Tongva people, as well as the Tataviam and Chumash people, in acknowledgement of the neighboring lands in which many in our motion picture community live and work. And there you go. And then the Student Academy Awards start, and then but it's all here. It's the fancy opening, and then you see they start talking here.
Specifically, Kendra Carter.
All right, so there you go. All right, I'm not going to show you any more of this. You can watch the whole thing if you want. Alan, you've noticed this as a trend before with the land acknowledgments. What I find, and there are critics of land acknowledgments. There are people who say, hey, this is honoring and the spirit of the people whose land this was. Then other critics will say, well, I mean, what are we supposed to do now? This is kind of condescending. Or whose land is it? Was it the land when the Cherokee had it, or when this other tribe conquered that tribe? Like, whose land is it anyway? Alan, we've seen this as a trend that's happening at film festivals. What are your thoughts? Because you've seen this not just live, you've seen it on like a lot of also digital presentations. I think it's kind of condescending, and it's creeping toward a bad place, because what are we supposed to do? And to be clear, my relatives all came here in the early 1900s on boats through New York City, Russian and Polish immigrants, among others. So all my family, that's when they came here. I don't know what I mean. I guess they want us to feel guilty, but what do you think, Alan?
Well, I mean, you brought it up. What's the action item? Give the land back. I don't know who the Tongva people are. And again, not one to suffer from white guilt. There are days where it's just like, why can't you white people just get along? And it's just insane to me that we just, I mean, I can give you an idea of why we keep rehashing the past, and why we constantly bring up slavery, why we constantly bring up colonization. why these words are now the words of colonizers and racists are just so easy to throw out there. And we talk about it all the time. It does nothing to bring people together. It just its sole purpose is to constantly keep us divided. And fine, we can acknowledge it. It's just, ultimately what it is it annoys me for a minute, and then I just go on with life.
Right.
And it has no impact. And something like that should, I don't know, there should be something behind it that I'm not seeing. And quite frankly, sure, I'd like to know about the Tongva people, but not so much that I want to fight for their cause, that I want to return Hollywood back to the Tongva. So, it's just there has to be a better direction this nation goes toward unity, which is what it used to be about. It used to be about unity, bringing people together, and being proud Americans. And it feels like we're moving in the wrong direction with stuff like this.
What I think this does is just encourage a new form of racism. That's all. I'm just going to call it out. I'm sorry. Look, people would look at me and they would just assume like they would make assumptions about me. Isn't that what prejudice is? Isn't prejudice, isn't that just making assumptions about a person before you actually know them? And I just think that what this is doing is not only is it dividing people in this country. I don't think we've ever been. It's not an exaggeration or hyperbole to say we're more divided now than we've ever been as a country. And what it does is it gives justification, I think, for people to do bad things. And I see all of this going to a bad place. And let's just say this. This is the Student Academy Awards. What are the Oscars going to do? What are the Oscars going to do? Are the Oscars going to do this? Are we going to start to see national television shows start to do land acknowledgments? And then also, when do you do them? When do you not do them?
Yeah. Well, you know how the Oscars, they would card out the accountants? Well,
right.
Maybe now they'll card out the Tongva, the leaders of the Tongva tribe.
And look, and if I just, put like $300,000 down on a $1.2 million house in Burbank, California, saved forever. Myself and my partner saved a lot of money over the years to get. What am I supposed to do?
Give it back.
What are we supposed to do?
Give it back.
Well, I guess you could go to like an Indian casino and maybe like. But like this is intended to, I think, make people feel guilty with nothing. A lot of this stuff is just like appealing to people's feelings. I think a lot of that has a lot of causes we've seen lately is just tugging on your feelings, but with there's no action plan. But
look, let me just say that
sure.
The hypocrisy on my part is not lost on me. I fully believe that you go to Asia, Asians are the most racist people in the world. And, look.
Wait, can you repeat?
No, I'm not going to repeat that. You have it already. I'm not going to repeat it. But the thing is that, it's ironic that the United States is the most diverse country in the world, but considered the most racist country in the world. When you can go, look, if you use this logic, the less racist countries in the world are the least diverse countries in the world. That's why China is the least racist country in the world, because they do a good job of keeping everyone else out of their country.
Sorry. No, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I'll say this. We should be celebrating the fact that we're a country that has done as much as we have with so many different types of people. Mm-hmm. This push to division is I look at it and I see people talking online. Unbelievable the way that they speak to each other, not face to face. And now we're seeing people speak to each other face to face in ways I thought I would never see in my lifetime. That I thought had just been wiped away in the 90s. Like, I saw some people who thought and said terrible things when I was a young kid. And I feel like, hey, we grew out of that. And the 90s was a great time. And I'm going to sound like man yells at cloud. But This push is not good. We should be celebrating all of our successes, doing completely the opposite rather than pushing people to feel guilty about something that they can't do anything about. There are more successful, different types of people in this country than anywhere in the world. And look, and I'll say this, I love my country. I love America. Don't really love everything our government does. Not a fan of a lot of the things our government does. I have a healthy mistrust of our government for many reasons. History, current times. But I'll say this: I've traveled quite a bit in my life. Had the opportunity to travel quite a bit in my life, and I feel everywhere I go see the best of America. Why? Because that's what I'm looking for. Because that's what I see. And I feel like if you look through a different lens and you only see the bad, that's what you'll see. And if you look through a lens that I see, which is, you know what? I know I'm filled with unbridled optimism. After The Last Jedi, I thought, well, there's a reason they're doing all this. I hated the first movie. I kind of saw potential with Last Jedi. Didn't a lot of things that happened were kind of weird, but that third movie is going to stick the landing. I was an optimist. I'm an optimist about a lot of things. But boy, if we continue down this path of all these things that are intended to be divisive, I don't know where that leads us because what is the end game and what is the end goal of this? Based on this, we'll just give up your 1.2 million shack in Burbank and give it to somebody else. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. I just feel it's very comfortable for the people who are saying this and pushing this. They are in a comfortable position to be able to say it. And watch for this to turn up more. This is something that you and I have encountered quite a bit. I don't think that the viewers in our audience have necessarily encountered this, but more and more this is coming. I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm in a public setting and see this, how I'm going to react. I was at a screening actually last week where somebody did it verbally, and all I did was I just rolled my eyes,
Yeah.
Like,
well, we saw, was it Past Lives together?
Yes, we did.
And
yes.
they did it. And they did it. And you audibly laughed out loud when it came up because
I don't care.
It was juxtaposed against something else that just made it ironic.
It just made it so ironic. Like you're a bunch of effing hypocrites, and I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. I'm going to call it out. So is this a precursor to what may happen at the Oscars? And if they don't now that they've set the precedent, if they don't do this, is it going to be, why did you not do the land acknowledgments at the Oscars? Here's my prediction. Can I predict this, Alan?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do it at the show, but it won't be televised. So they will do a land acknowledgement at the Oscars at the beginning. And look, friends of mine that go to the Oscars, could you film it for me and send me the video? I promise. This is my prediction. This is the compromise. It's sort of like when they play the Black National Anthem at a football game, but they don't actually air it on television. They don't air it on TV because most people boo. There's one national anthem for all people. And look, there's a lot of arguments for why people have issues with that song, but more than any other time now, we need things that unite us. And I think if anything, movies and entertainment should unite us. Alan, final thoughts before we go to comments.
Yeah, we get at least 10 to 20 documentaries about Indigenous people and Native Americans. And again, most of these films, it's about the oppression. It's about the oppression. And it's never, and always at the end of it, I ask myself, well, what am I supposed to do? The only thing I walk away with is basically, yeah, white people are bad. And that seems to be the message of all these films. We're in a bad place. Why? Because white people bad. It even infects my own community in terms of there was a documentary about Asian Americans in American cinema, and the entire movie was about how white people have been oppressing Asians for a century now. In terms of Hollywood. And rather than be a celebration of where Asians have come from today, or how back in the 80s, I can tell you no Asian parent wanted their children to be actors or be in Hollywood. They wanted us to be lawyers, doctors, and engineers. If I told my parents that I wanted to be an actor, they would have sent me off to a boarding school that had a medical degree, emphasis attached to it. But the thing is now opportunity is there. There are more opportunities now for Asian American actors, writers, directors. Everything, everywhere, all at once is a testament to this. That Asians can make a movie and they can win an Oscar Best Picture for it. And and again, I say it over and over again, and no one believes me, but I would much rather live as an Asian American today than I did when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, because opportunity wasn't there for me.
And why
opportunity there is for me now.
And why can't we celebrate that? Why can't we
celebrate? Yeah, why can't we celebrate that?
Why can't we? Why does every speech have to be victim this? And look, and it's not as if I just think we've come so far. We need to take a look back and say, yeah, so there's a lot of things from the past, that can be criticized. And we're here now and living in the present. Or as what's that Kamala Harris quote where there's like a montage, unburdened by what has been. Yeah, well, she says it in such a dumb, condescending way. I can't really take it seriously. Sorry.
I would say in the 60s and 70s when I was growing up, the issue was equal access to opportunity.
Yes,
and that's what we fought for. That's what the civil rights movement was for. That's what the women's movement was for. It was access to opportunity. Now it's about revenge. And and I'll tell you this: if politicians were serious about doing away with racism and misogyny, let's just say they fixed it. No more racism. Then what do we need politicians for? And so there's a incentive to keep us divided, and that's what pisses me off the most about this.
I 100% agree. It's I'm just shocked that we're at this place, that this is where we are, and these are the actual real conversations that we're having.